Well, both gentlemen are with us this afternoon, the Security Minister, Peter Bunting, and the Commissioner, Lieutenant Colonel Prendergast. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Minister Bunting, have you received the preliminary report?
I understand it was delivered to the office at 4:30 or thereabouts, but I have been on the road before that in the afternoon, so I haven't seen it.
Oh, Commissioner, have you seen it?
No, well, I dispatched it. So it was delivered. I'm sure the minister will see it in due course.
What are your findings?
No, these were initial reports, an initial report from the superintendent accompanied by the initial statements from the staff. It's not an investigation yet. It's just a compilation of the initial statements.
Do you care to share with us the substance of the report?
Pardon?
Do you care to share with us the substance of the report?
It is not far different from what I have already provided to the media. It gives the basic information that we have already provided, and I've now provided this to the ministry in written form and requested that the inspectorate at the ministry conduct the investigation, which is a normal procedure in such matters.
Any major differences, any major new information from what was reported to you verbally first?
No. It is compatible with the initial reports that I had made to the press.
And essentially that she was in a confrontation and then went back to her cell and hanged herself.
Yes.
Minister?
Yes,
First, I want to hear you on Colonel Prendergast ask a request for the investigation to be done by the inspectorate branch of the ministry. What's your thinking of that? Because the family is already saying we don't trust Colonel Prendergast and his officers to investigate themselves.
Well, I believe an investigation or a number of investigations will be done by various independent bodies. I believe Indicom could very well do an investigation. The police could do an investigation. The Children's Advocate, the Office of the Children's Advocate, and as Colonel Prendergast has mentioned, the normal process whenever there is an incident, at a serious incident at one of the correctional centers, the Ministry of National Security itself would conduct more of an administrative type investigation. So I don't expect there will be any shortage of investigators pursuing this matter, and you could very well have some sort of judicial review depending on what the investigators find.
Minister, have you had a chance to tour the Horizon Adult Centre, and in particular that section of the facility where these young women are based or being held?
Yes, I have.
And you have toured that section of the facility?
Yes, I have.
Have you did you get a chance to speak with any of them?
Yes, I spoke with some of the wards that were there.
Can you recall if Vanessa was one of those?
No. I toured that area today. I have not. This was the first time touring that particular juvenile.
Oh, so you have never been there before today?
Not before today.
Minister, you are the man with direct responsibility for adult correctional facilities, juvenile correctional facilities, and police lockups. The question a lot of Jamaicans are asking this afternoon is, why is it that children are still being held in adult correctional facilities? Why is it, Minister?
Well, I think we need to understand the layout of the facility, the Horizon Centre. It is a large facility, and there are different sections. Where the juveniles are held, they have no contact. You can not even visual contact with adults. It is a discrete corner of the facility. There are a number of buffers. As I said, not even visual contact would normally be made. They have an area that they can go outside for recreation. They have a classroom area and the dormitory area, which, for all intents and purposes, when I visited today, if I had been blindfolded and taken there and just put in the female juvenile section, I would have had no idea that I was in a larger correctional facility.
But surely, Minister, it cannot be ideal for children to be held even in the same facility, even if there is some element of segregation. How long will this continue?
Well, the two reasons why there is a need for this facility. If there is overcrowding at the other centers, or if there are wards who are displaying behavioral issues that makes it difficult to handle them at the other correctional facilities, which do not have the single cell accommodation that Horizon has. So, in a sense, until we can get a new facility, this is
resources are a problem, eh?
Accommodation that we can have. Sorry?
Resources are a problem.
Resources are a problem, but notwithstanding that, we are well advanced in reconfiguring the South Camp Correctional Center, which was previously an adult male correctional center. That is now being reconfigured to take next year both the juveniles as well as the adult females at Fort Augusta. And I think once that new facility is open, then we will not have, this sort of situation where we have to move wards from one to another on the basis of overflowing.
Colonel Prendergast, you're the prison boss. Do you have any discomfort at all with that facility in your prison at Horizon?
Well, we have to recognize that it is not the ideal. That is true. However, of the options that are available to me now, we have made every attempt to make it, bring it to a satisfactory standard. And I think we have achieved that. If you visit the Horizon facility where we keep the female juveniles, it has been prepared and it is acceptable. Would I like it to be a better facility, more suitable for children? Of course I would. But it is completely acceptable and quite legal for it to be used at this point.
And do we have these young children or teenage girls at Fort Augusta as well?
Yes, we do. And they're at Fort Augusta, they are held in separate dorms. So the adults have adult dorms and the juveniles are held in juvenile dorms.
They have no interaction with the adult female prisoners?
The interactions, and let me explain. Fort Augusta, while we have separate accommodation for the adults and the juveniles, there is some unavoidable contact when they get into the corridors to get to the classroom areas or the trade training areas or even the sporting areas. We have separate classes for adults, separate classes for juveniles, but they have some level of contact in the corridors getting to these activities. The proposals that we have for South Camp will solve that issue. The proposals will take into account and have a completely separate juvenile section, a completely separate adult section that will prevent any mingling at all at South Camp. So the plans that we have, if we implement them, will be a much better solution than currently exists.
Sounds like you're not sure they'll be implemented?
Well, it's going to depend on, whatever deadline we have for moving. Right now, we haven't got a specific date for when we need to move.
What is the date, Minister? Let me put that to the Minister.
Well, it's going to be during the course of next year.
Oh, so it could be the first quarter or the last quarter?
As soon as we get the balance of the funding,
resources, you find $60 million to buy cars.
Yeah, Cliff, I know you could say, we could, in fact, why don't we just stop paying parliamentarians altogether?
No.
That would release additional resources.
You have enough cars in the government service to be deployed.
If we want to, bring this argument down to the lowest common denominator.
Hell no. No, Minister.
But
no, Minister.
In this case, you don't even have an argument to say that this minister took resources that could have gone to the correctional center to buy a car. I'm still driving my own motor vehicle. So let's, Cliff, I understand you want to sensationalize.
No, Minister Bunting, it is not. It is the pain that people are feeling out there that simply says when we need to find money to take care of certain entitlements, we find it. And those issues to deal with people, especially our children or vulnerable teenagers, somehow we cannot find it.
No, well, first of all, I don't want you to give the impression that this incident happened because of the configuration of Horizon. That had nothing to do with this.
What it had to do with? What did it have to do with?
Well, the report will say. But
so can you say that, though, Minister, the investigation is not complete?
Well, because I've visited the facility. I've seen...
But you haven't even seen the preliminary report.
No, but what I'm saying is based on the configuration. I have seen the configuration of the facility. And there's nothing that could remotely suggest that the configuration of the facility has anything to do with this. That's just a red herring right now. So
it all had to do with what? It all had to do with what?
We are dealing with a tragedy. And I want to be as sensitive to the family, and if you don't mind me using your program to extend my condolences to the family and the community of the young lady. But I think we should be careful not to use this to pursue whatever our favorite peeve of the day is, because I don't think that would be doing justice to either the majority hard-working staff at the Department of Correctional Services or the memory of the young lady.
Minister of National Security Bunting, I think a lot of people listening to you would resent what you have just said about us engaging in our favorite peeve of the day. This has been a long-standing issue, Minister, going back a number of years.
Right,
that
and
the Jamaican state has not been good at fixing for far too long.
And Cliff, we are doing something about it. We've built the Metcalf Center, the previous administration, that deals with the male juveniles. We are in the process of modifying the South Camp.
And you cannot tell your people, Minister of Security, National Security, when that facility...
It's going to happen next year. As soon as possible. We're working to have it done.
Because you don't have the resources in place yet, so you're not in a position to say if it's going to be the first half or the second half.
I am in a position to say it is going to happen next year, and it is going to happen as quickly as possible.
Thanks much. Peter Bunting, the Minister of National Security, and Colonel Sean Prendergast, the Commissioner of Corrections. After the break, reactions.